The four horsemen of the apocalypse: denial, delusion, narcissism, and irresponsibility. Not only are they the final nail in the coffin of a dying restaurant business, but also Chef Ramsay's patience. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. And what better than to start with the 6th episode of Season 4, when Chef Ramsay dropped by Down City in Providence, Rhode Island. Down City was the brainchild of Abby Cabral and her best buddy Rico Conforti, who went into the restaurant business together back in 2005. Since Rico had a 9-to-5 job in finance, it was Abby who was holding down the fort at the restaurant. But here's the sitch: despite Abby's 33 years of experience in the food scene, they were struggling to fill those dining seats. Abby was scratching her head over this one since she was convinced the place was gorgeous and the food was top-notch. But her staff definitely had something to say about it.
Abby has her blindfolds on because she doesn't want to admit that she's part of the problem.
Being a leader means acknowledging your role in shaping your company's destiny. But Abby, well, let's just say she wasn't exactly democratic.
So the decisions I make, I really don't consult Rico about them, I just do them.
Most of her employees thought she was extremely bossy. And you have to hear what Josh, one of the servers, had to say about her.
Abby acts like Cruella de Vil.
Her staff had been treated so poorly that it was impossible to give Abby any benefit of the doubt.
Abby is a complete psycho fucking bitch.
Yeah, so the picture is starting to come together, huh? She was notorious for her micromanagement, dodging accountability, and all in all, Abby was really giving her staff a tough time. When Chef Ramsay arrived at Down City, Abby welcomed him but dropped a bombshell, admitting that she was clueless when it came to cooking. But you know what? She was the one who created the menu without even consulting anyone at all.
Nobody can say anything about the menu because it's her menu.
Oh, and by the way, she also fired the head chef. And what about the brigade, you ask? Well, there was no brigade. No guidance, no rules, just vibes. Well, Down City was the very definition of a toxic work environment, and Chef Ramsay was shocked to discover that it was the same restaurant behind the dismal room service at the hotel he stayed at. Hearing that, Chef Ramsay made it a point to let Abby know about the appalling service and food quality. Both the crab cakes and tomato soup were served cold and were far from appetizing. However, Abby, stubborn as ever, rejected his criticism outright.
I think you're one of those customers that I would fire immediately.
Restaurant owners and not being able to take criticism, name a more iconic duo, I tell ya. Anyway, Chef Ramsay hadn't been in the restaurant for even 5 minutes, and she was already acting petulant and defensive.
I don't know where you're coming from. I really don't know where you're coming from. I absolutely think you're fucking full of shit.
Despite that, the famous chef ordered the 3-way nachos and meatloaf. The calamari was an instant disappointment, being soggy, chewy, and downright unpleasant. The nachos looked just as bad, and this is what he likened the taste to.
It was like a funeral in my mouth.
Meanwhile, the waiters were thrilled to have Chef Ramsay over and couldn't wait for him to join in the horror show they called work.
Abby said it was a 10. So I'm in for a treat.
Yeah.
After a disastrous service, Chef Ramsay gathered Abby and the staff, delivering the harsh truth that the food was shockingly bad. And in a matter of seconds, we find her morph into an all-new avatar.
Bring it on.
Oh, come on.
Bring it on.
What do you mean, bring it on?
Did you notice how vindictive her body language was? I mean, calm down, you aren't under attack here. Not everything is personal, jeez. Sometime later, in a candid sit-down with her staff, Abby defended her meatloaf as the key to their popularity. But they shocked her by confessing that they actually didn't like the dishes, but served them anyway because they had to. The staff had been reluctant to voice their opinions because they knew of Abby's tendency to react really violently.
We're all at a point now where we're just like, if this is what she wants, let's just serve it out.
Whew, if only she hit the brakes on her temper, things would work out just fine. But you know how Chef Ramsay is. He loves challenges. Which is why, despite feeling unwelcomed, he decided to stay back and witness the dinner service. And what did he find? Well, surprise, surprise, the kitchen was a mess. Dishes were making a U-turn back to the kitchen faster than they were reaching the customers, and what was Abby's genius solution to that problem? To stop serving the specials altogether because, you know, they were the ones that were constantly being sent back. Brilliant, right? Chef Ramsay then summoned Abby and Rico to show them the state of the fridge downstairs because, well, it left him in disbelief.
What is that? Chicken carcasses. Oh my god.
And what was Abby's reaction? She simply gave him the cold shoulder as if he was at her mercy.
Why don't we what?
It's like, I was talking to Rico, has nothing to do with you.
Well, yeah, at this point, I'm just as confused as Ramsay must have been. But she wasn't done yet. Abby, in her infinite wisdom, insisted that the refrigerator must have been spontaneously transformed into a disaster zone since the last time she checked. Wait, was she accusing him of planting evidence?
You're in denial.
I'm not in denial. I am not in
Yes,
denial.
you are. And you can't even accept it.
Real classy, huh? She then proceeded to engage in a fiery argument, graciously ordering Chef Ramsay to vacate the premises, but not before she called him this.
You're a disgrace to this industry. You would get out of my restaurant.
I mean, what do I even say here? Chef Ramsay was right. She needed therapy, and I'm saying that with the utmost respect and concern. Meanwhile, Rico, who was the only voice of reason, rushed to intervene, pleading with Chef Ramsay not to abandon ship.
I've had failure in my life, but one thing I'm not in is denial. And when I do make a mistake, I admit it.
Well, it was a do-or-die situation. But hey, did you see Chef Ramsay's reaction? When Abby accused him of being a disgrace to the industry, not once did he boast about his achievements or his 17 Michelin stars. I mean, we're talking about the alpha and omega of the culinary world. But even with that being the case, he decided to take the high road, openly acknowledging his failures while also emphasizing the importance of acknowledging them. So what happened next? Did Abby change her ways? Well, don't let me spoil the episode for you. But keep an eye on your sub boxes because we'll definitely check in with Abby again. However, I'll say this though. Rico was indeed an amazing friend, and I wonder if Abby deserved him. He had a lot at stake, including his day job, and yet, he was patient and calm and open-minded during the entire ordeal. How often do you find friends like that, huh? Anyway, moving on. So how many of you remember the mixing bowl from season 1? Nestled in Belmore, New York, the restaurant found itself in dire straits when it came on the Kitchen Nightmares radar.
I'm so stubborn about keeping it alive, but am I hurting myself? Am I hurting my family?
Well, that's Billy, and I found him to be so wholesome. He and his wife Lisa Galletti owned the establishment, and it was grappling with a significant surge in local competition that had cropped up over the decade since its inception. However, as Chef Ramsay soon uncovered the troubles plaguing the mixing bowl, it extended beyond the encroaching competition. And trust me, there was a lot on the line.
I can't sacrifice myself and our children for the mixing bowl anymore.
Enter Mike, the so-called manager, who appeared to have the restaurant's customers convinced that he was the owner.
Everyone just knows he's Mixing Bowl Mike.
Yeah, so he had an uncanny knack for striking up endless conversations with patrons. He was more interested in chatting up and gossiping than actually helping the business.
This guy is just using this restaurant to feed his ego.
Right from the moment Chef Ramsay laid his eyes on Mike, it was evident that he was harboring a deep-seated disgust for the guy. The episode painted Mike as a bit of a weasel, seemingly defined by his manager status. Like, that was his entire personality, and believe me, I cringe so hard at him, but especially here.
People come in here, and they think I'm the owner. They call me like the mayor of Belmore.
Come on, get over yourself. You see, Mike proudly touted their commitment to serving healthy food, but as Chef Ramsay sampled the dishes, Mike just kept hovering over the guy, prompting Ramsay to finally put his foot down.
I feel really uncomfortable.
No problem.
You know, you got this cockroach on your back you're trying to shake off, and I like to just sit and enjoy my lunch.
That didn't stop him from critiquing the food though, since he said the crab cakes were lacking freshness but still passable, the zucchini was bland, and the salmon was over-seasoned. To make matters even worse, Mike was siphoning off half of the tips, asserting that his behavior justified customers tipping generously.
People know me the best because I make it a point of making friends with the customers, and that's what customers want. They want to feel special.
This reminds me of Sammy from Amy's Baking Company. And if you're in the mood for shocking revelations about that crazy duo, you should watch this. But this is where Mike crossed the line. During the dinner service, Mike distributed half-off coupons, shockingly admitting that they'd been doing this for 8 years. Now, let's pause for a sec. How on earth could a restaurant turn a profit while offering 50% off the sticker price? Well, spoiler alert, you can't.
50, no, 50, 50.
In here?
Yeah.
Holy smoke.
So, in a bid to unravel the promotional mayhem, Chef Ramsay asked Mike to provide a rundown of all the restaurant's promotions. Mike complied, lugging in a slew of costly signage that, according to him, had failed to make an impact. Later on relaunch night, he had a full-blown meltdown over a reservation blunder.
I was told 7 o'clock this morning. Not my fault. Dragons on the paper.
The owners were naturally shocked at his disrespect, and Chef Ramsay had to tell him off.
Hey, yes, you f*** off outside, now.
In a separate conversation with both Lisa and Billy, Chef Ramsay didn't mince his words. Mike was just too much to handle. The duo needed to rein him in or cut ties altogether. The famous chef even floated the idea of shutting down the restaurant that very night. While Billy was hesitant to throw in the towel, Lisa seemed ready to walk away. But someone seemed too happy.
If you're carrying the weight that this guy and his wife has on their shoulders, you wouldn't fucking smirk.
So did she walk away for good? Or did Chef Ramsay manage to save the business? But anyway, let's move on. Up next, the famous chef made his way to Luigis Ditalia in Anaheim, California, a restaurant that had seen its fair share of family feuds and financial fumbles. So let me start with giving you some background. Luigi Catazzone, the restaurant's founder, established Luigi's in 1981 with crucial financial support from his father Dominic. For many years the restaurant thrived, but the harmony began to unravel when Dominic retired to Italy in 1999. Soon after, Luigi's brother Tony stepped in to assist with the restaurant's operations. As differing viewpoints between Tony and Luigi escalated, it wasn't just their culinary creations that were heating up. The discord was laid bare for the staff and customers to witness, as Luigi and his wife Grace couldn't resist getting into shouting matches with Tony, who seemed to sport a laid-back attitude. The family trio's constant clashes were not only taking a toll on the business, but also fracturing their familial bonds. In a desperate financial predicament, with debts ballooning to a staggering $1.5 million, Luigi's was teetering on the brink of closure. And the tension was spilling over to the customers' tables. Chef Ramsay decided to take a peek at their website, only to discover a bizarre claim. The restaurant boasted a 22-year-old head chef. Turns out it was Luigi, who was, in reality, 51 years old. Confused? Well, here's what happened. The claim was from 1981, and the most recent review dated back to 1991. Yeah, just a little bit out of date. Which is why Chef Ramsay wasted no time in getting to the heart of the matter. He demanded to meet the family behind this culinary drama. So there was Grace, Dominica, Luigi's daughter, Tony, and Tony's wife, Linda. During the discussion, Tony revealed that he managed the restaurant from Monday to Wednesday, while Luigi took the reins from Thursday to Sunday. Wondering why? I think you'll be amazed by this. The reason was because the two couldn't bear being in the same room as each other. And the famous chef was gonna get roped into the drama. Luigi and Grace were quick to criticize Tony and Linda, branding them as lazy and indifferent to the restaurant's fate. The mere mention of these issues ignited a furious shouting match among the four adults, with emotions running high.
That's what you said. No, I said this is what happened.
Chef Ramsay then decided to try the food, only to be greeted by a menu of epic proportions, boasting a staggering 126 items. Clearly, Luigi was lost in the sauce. Or, recipes? I don't know. Anyway, Chef Ramsay confronted Luigi and Tony in the kitchen, but Luigi's defensive stance left Chef Ramsay frustrated. The kitchen's atmosphere was as heated as the dishes being prepared, with Luigi berating his staff in full view of the diners.
You're an arrogant chef just like me, worse than me.
Chef Ramsay tried to reason with Luigi, but his reluctance to listen led to a fiery confrontation. That's when Luigi stormed out, leaving Tony to play peacemaker and coax him back to the kitchen.
The guy is what he is, and he's English bastard is what he is, alright?
The drama never gets old. Returning to the dining area, Chef Ramsay pointed out the restaurant's claim of having the best Italian food west of Italy. He made it abundantly clear that they were in denial and needed to work smarter, not harder.
The way you perform tonight, that is a man that's in control of his kitchen.
The next day, Chef Ramsay called a staff meeting, a first for the restaurant. The family watched from the shadows as the staff candidly discussed the ongoing conflict between the two couples, revealing how it had driven customers away.
First of all, they're embarrassing in front of customers, and second of all, they're not professional.
The spotlight then turned to Grace, identified as the primary source of disruption and fear among the staff. Her initial resistance crumbled as she felt cornered and misunderstood, even expressing her desire to exit the business. Chef Ramsay then stepped in, attempting to break the emotional barriers, reminding Grace that it wasn't personal. They were a team, and her team was there to support her.
They are here for you.
No, they came to me!
No.
The emotional catharsis was pretty intense and very much needed. Sometimes, I think Chef Ramsay cooks as a hobby. He's actually a family therapist, don't you think?
We cannot start to fix this restaurant unless we fix each other first.
That's a goldmine of wisdom. Next up, Chef Ramsay takes a trip to Blackberries in Plainfield, New Jersey, a soul food restaurant with an owner who, well, seemed to have no soul.
Let's go, it's over.
Shelley Winters, a formerly successful caterer, had her mother invest her retirement funds to set up this venture. While Mama Mary was a kind, gentle soul, Shelley was the patron saint of narcissists.
I am the owner of this business. I'm just not taking any shit from anyone.
No kidding. She seemed to be wearing some rose-tinted glasses because she firmly believed that the decor was fabulous, the food was top-notch, and the location was spot on. But here's the twist. Her customers and staff couldn't disagree more. According to them, she was a control freak who was in denial. And trust me, that's a horrible combination. This restaurant was riddled with issues. The kitchen was a war zone with a communication breakdown, the staff was chaotic, and a staggering debt of $200,000 loomed over the place like a dark cloud. Things, however, took a nauseating turn when Chef Ramsay sampled the chitlins. The famous chef quickly requested a prayer before taking a bite of the food, but the god sent him rushing to the bathroom.
I need the toilet, excuse me. I knew they'd come out quicker than they went in.
Chef Ramsay made it clear just how many ways they'd butchered the lunch service. But what of Our Lady of Perpetual Delusion? Well, this is what she thought.
Absolutely do not believe that there's that much wrong with my food.
Returning for dinner, the famous chef was greeted by an uninvited guest.
Ooh, what is that? Bloody hell.
Yeah, so that was a real mouse laying dead right at the foot of the restaurant's front door. The staff was in utter disbelief since they'd supposedly called in the exterminator just a week before. James, the general manager, in an astonishing twist, accused Chef Ramsay of bringing the mouse along with them. Wild. Yeah, he really went there, even suggesting that the famous chef planted it for TV drama.
I wish you would talk a little bit of sense. The TV, put your money where your mouth is.
But of course he didn't do it, so he gathered the staff to uncover the truth. However, Shelley immediately backed James's wild mouse theories, which sent Chef Ramsay to the brink of walking away.
You can take your restaurant and stick it. I am gone. I'm out of it.
But Mary, the only voice of reason at this restaurant, stepped in, urging Shelley to simmer down and pled with Chef Ramsay to stay.
Please don't leave.
Yeah, no, I'm out of here.
I'll be honest here, that poor woman deserves so much better than whatever Shelley put her through. I mean, just look at her.
I don't understand what's happening today. Honest to God, I don't.
Her heartfelt plea, coupled with a somewhat reluctant apology from James, eventually convinced Chef Ramsay to stick around. During the dinner service, the famous chef observed Shelley's disruptive presence in the kitchen as she struggled to communicate effectively, leading to bickering amongst the staff and excessively long food wait times.
I have the recipes. I'm the exec.
The next day, Chef Ramsay called a staff meeting, and that's when the floodgates opened. Staff members expressed their frustrations, all pointing their fingers at Shelley for being an overbearing control freak who left little room for them to do their jobs effectively.
It's either her way or the highway.
You take somebody out of what they're supposed to be doing and make them do something else.
Shelley obviously took offense and tried to silence Dwayne, ultimately asking him to leave. Seriously, I've never seen anyone act as spoiled as Shelley.
Good night.
I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you so much for your service.
Because the honesty hurts.
Things got so intense that the famous chef had to step in before it escalated any further. However, Shelley fell back into her old habits, meddling with cooking stations and causing chaos. When confronted, she stormed out, leaving the rest of the team to rally together and take charge.
Shelley, now you walk away.
Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.
As the night drew to a close, Shelley retreated to her office and refused to join the meeting. Mary made another valiant attempt to coax her out, but Shelley remained resolute.
No point in making yourself look any more stupid.
Anyway, the famous chef proceeded to commend the staff's efforts and attempted one last time to engage Shelley in a conversation. However, she declined yet again. This time, Mary's patience reached its limit, and she expressed her disappointment and shame towards her daughter's stubbornness.
You are done. Close the damn place down.
But did any of it matter to Shelley? Of course not. Narcissists, right? Anyway, speaking of intense moments, the next restaurant on my list is Finn McCool's in West Hampton, owned by Andrew Mazzio, whom we lovingly call Buddy. Now, Finn McCool's thrived during the summer months thanks to the tourist influx in the Hamptons. But come winter, things got a bit lonely because West Hampton Beach had fewer residents than a cozy family dinner, just under 2,000 folks.
You know, we're probably, I would say, $5,000 a week or $4,000 a week under what we need to survive.
Well, that's Buddy, a retired policeman who opened up Finn McCool's in 2006 right after hanging up his cop boots. He brought the whole family into the restaurant biz. His son Brian was the head chef, and another son Jason clocked in hours there too. Jason's wife Melissa joined the fun as a server. So let's review the food. The salmon was practically swimming in balsamic vinegar, and the shepherd's pie? More grease than pie.
Does pie have any balsamic vinegar?
No.
Good. Lovely.
And Chef Ramsay's stomach definitely wasn't up for it.
Oh no.
It made him sick.
Yeah, not a great start. Returning from his quick visit to the toilet, he confronted Brian and told him that his food sucked. Well, not in those words exactly. He was actually quite polite, I mean by Chef Ramsay's standards anyway, and basically advised him to give his best shot every day. But that didn't sit well with Brian.
He has no idea what he's talking about, so whatever he has to tell me, I don't really care.
What's more, the restaurant also lacked cleanliness and organization.
Canned artichokes. This is lethal.
But wait, it gets even better, or should I say worse. Chef Ramsay then ordered everyone to clean the kitchen, himself included, but not everyone was on board.
I don't cook in that kitchen, so I don't want to go into his kitchen and clean it.
Oh, and a memorable incident involves Francis, the sous chef, dropping a chicken wing on the floor and then doing this. Yeah, so he dropped the chicken wing on the floor and casually tossed it into the fryer, claiming that the hot oil would sterilize it. While technically accurate, it's not exactly the kind of kitchen hygiene that earns a gold star. I will never forget this moment when Buddy's soul left his body.
I dropped the wing on the floor, picked up, stuck it back in the fryer again.
You see, Chef Ramsay wanted to mentor Brian on how to cook a proper shepherd's pie, but he thought he knew better.
To have him come to your place and show you what you should be doing the right way.
Yeah, why not? Would you like your own show as well? Anyway, it was clear. He had been taking advantage of his father his entire life, and when Buddy asked him to take the job seriously, he threw a tantrum. And the next thing you know, he just stormed off.
I'm done working here.
There are people who would have killed to get coached by Chef Ramsay himself. It's funny how this guy thought he was above it.
I have a big problem with Gordon hanging over me, watching every step.
Now, don't come after me for not talking about Joe Nagy or Amy or even Peter Pellegrino. I've gone over all of them one too many times. But if you're craving some of that kind of drama, check out my channel. I've got you covered. But if you can think of any worthy mentions, don't forget to drop those names in the comment section down below. And before you leave, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications. And if you thought this video was crazy, then you have to check out this next post right here, since it's even crazier.